that Dan Brown would be a coward to do a movie about?
Well, it comes down to the claim of the Quran regarding its own preservation. If you can document that the Quran has been corrupted, and by the way, when I use the term corrupt, I don't mean that the Quran is so corrupted that you cannot know what it originally said. I try to extend the same courtesy to the Quran that I want Muslims to do with the New Testament. Because as Dr. White will recall, some Muslim took my words out of context where I said, well, yeah, there's corruptions to the New Testament, and then try to pit my words against myself, where in another topic or another discussion I said the Bible's not corrupt. Misunderstood my point. However, when I say the corruption of the Quran, I mean that the Quran has come down to us with varying readings. It's not a perfectly preserved text. And the reason why Muslims have to insist that the Quran is perfectly preserved is because of statements in the Quran where the author of the Quran, Muslims believe it's God or Allah, claims that he will preserve the Quran from corruption. For example, let's look at one passage in particular. Surah Al-Hijr, or chapter 15 of the Quran. Chapter 15, verse 9. Here's what it says. Now, what's interesting about this passage is that the promise is not limited to the preservation of the Quran, and I'll get into that in a minute. But let's first read what the passage itself says. Chapter 15, verse 9. Lo, even we reveal the reminder, and lo, we verily are its guardian. Now, depending on what translation you read, Yusuf Ali within parentheses puts from corruption.
From corruption.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not in text, Arabic text, but that's implied. So here, the Quran says, the Quran will be preserved by Allah. Therefore, the Quran cannot be corrupted. So if you demonstrate that there are variant readings, there are missing verses and chapters, what does this do to the promise of Allah to preserve the Quran? Now, you can say, well, Allah didn't say he was going to preserve it from variance. But despite the variance, he would make sure that the message of the Quran wouldn't be lost. Now, you can take that route. However, to the Muslim mindset, Allah is perfect and all-powerful, and he has power over all things. If he's going to preserve something, he's going to do so perfectly. Yeah. But the textual history of the Quran demonstrates Allah did not preserve the Quran perfectly, or at least free from variance. So this is what motivates Muslims to try to deny textual corruptions, variant readings, right, or conflicting readings among the extant manuscript tradition. This is the main impetus, the main reason why they're so adamant in denying that the Quran has variant readings.